Hello and welcome to the two-man power trip of wrestling and the latest podcast. I'm your host, JP John Poz. With me here is the former WWF and WCW head writer, the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Vince Russo. Vince, what's going on?
What is going on, John? How you doing today, man?
Doing good. How you doing?
I am doing all right, bro. I was just John, I signed on to write my third book with ECW Press, and my third book picks up right when Hogan and Bischoff came into TNA.
Oh,
So the
interesting.
last couple of days, I've been doing a lot of writing about your boy Hulk Hogan.
Nice. Hopefully it's all good, but I don't know about the TNA run. I don't know if it's going to be good.
But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see when we read the book. Yeah, but today, and the topic at hand, we're going to go back to 1999, one of your last hurrahs, SummerSlam, 1999, August 22nd, Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Target Center, 17,370 in attendance, 600,000 pay-per-view buys, huge number there. Tagline, of course, an out-of-body experience, because Jesse the Body Ventura, who is the governor of Minnesota at this point, is going to be the guest referee, the special guest referee for the main event of the
God,
evening.
it's funny, man. When you talk about like 17,000 people, bro, I swear to God, like I don't remember like one single time, being in the arena and just looking around the arena and seeing how many people were there. I don't remember ever. Man, I had such tunnel vision on these shows that like stuff like that I just never ever took in. I didn't take in, I didn't take in pay-per-view buys. I didn't take in the gate. The only thing I had to really take in were the ratings, bro, because
Yep.
my job was to make those television ratings grow. If you make those television ratings grow, everything else grows. That's why, bro, a guy, Meltzer, people like Meltzer and Alvarez love to say, oh, when Vince Russo went over to WCW, the first few months, the pay-per-view buys sucked. Well, bro, that's twofold, because when I got there, everybody was buying the WWE pay-per-view.
Yep.
Nobody was buying the WCW pay-per-view. And John, back then, with pay-per-views being $50, and if you were a kid and you wanted a pay-per-view, your parents weren't paying for both. So what were they paying for, bro? The best one. And when I left the WWE, I left the WWE where we were on fire. So do you really think when I went to WCW, I was concerned about pay-per-view buys? I wasn't, John, because if you get more people to watch the television show, you will get more pay-per-view buys. You will sell more tickets. You will sell more merch. You've got to start with television. So that's why my focus the first 3 months at WCW was I wasn't even thinking about what the pay-per-view buys were.
And yeah, obviously you make a good point. You were part of the one of the reasons why
Right.
WWF was dominating. You're the head writer for WWF, so once you go over, it's like, man, you're competing against yourself.
Right. I mean, what do you think if at that time, I go over to the WCW when they're doing 200,000 buys? What do you think in the first month it's just magically going to increase to 400,000? Nah, bro. The WWE was on fire at that time, and this may have been this may have actually been my last pay-per-view. I would have to go back and find out when the September pay-per-view was. This might have actually been my last pay-per-view. I don't know.
Interesting. I was actually kind of wondering, because I know obviously the next month, if you will, the September pay-per-view is Unforgiven. The pay-per-view was on September 26th. So I don't know if you were
Was that the housekeeping match?
with Jared and
Yeah,
China. Yeah.
yeah. I was gone. I was gone.
Oh,
I set up that match. I was writing leading up to that match, but I was gone by the time that pay-per-view happened.
Actually, I'm trying to think. I know Jarrett fought China on that pay-per-view, but was it the Good Housekeeping match, or was the Good Housekeeping match at No Mercy in October? Trying to remember, because I'm trying to remember when Jarrett left. No, the good housekeeping match was No Mercy of '99. So Unforgiven, they just had a regular match, and Jarrett ends up getting the win in Unforgiven. So you were gone by September 26th.
I think so, bro. I fit like right around that date. The only thing I can positively tell you, bro, is if you can find out around that date when Raw was at the Meadowlands, because I called Vince the Sunday before. No, the Sunday, the Sunday before that Monday, and told him I had signed with WCW. And I know that show was in the Meadowlands. I know Rock and Jericho had a match. That was the first show without me. And it had to be at the very end of September.
Interesting. Now, obviously, you're leaving at a extremely high point for them. Like they're dominating at this point. Was that a tough call on your part? Because
no, not at all. Because like I said, man, when Vince made it clear to me he didn't give a shit about me or my family, I didn't give a shit about him or his company anymore. Absolutely not. I don't regret that for 1 second, regardless of how difficult my time was at WCW. I don't regret that decision for 1 second, John.
Interesting. That's crazy, like how, they're kind of going to be on a roll after that, and not necessarily because of good creative, because I thought their creative in that era was
Oh yeah, I told Vince,
terrible,
bro, the
yeah.
last thing I said to Vince, bro, see, that's what people don't understand. You don't think I would have wanted to tell Vince face to face I was going to WCW so I could tell him exactly why. The problem was, bro, I met with WCW on Saturday. They wanted to hold me over until Sunday. By the time I was done meeting with them on Sunday, bro, it was like 7 o'clock, and we had Raw the next day. So I remember, bro, I flew from Atlanta and I had to change planes in Philly. Bro, by the time I got to Philly, it was like, I swear to God, bro, it had to be about 10 o'clock at night. That was my only opportunity to let Vince know. I literally called Vince from the Philly airport between flights. And I remember the last thing I said to him was, bro, Vince, you've got a year to ride the wave. Everything is set up for you. Everything is in place. You can ride the wave for at least a year. And bro, honestly, you can go back and look at the numbers. That's exactly what happened.
Interesting. October 4th, 1999, East Rutherford, New Jersey, Continental Airlines Arena. The Rock defeats Jericho in the main event, 8 minutes.
And do you know, John, let me tell you the only thing they changed. We had Jericho going over the Rock. They could have made Jericho 2 years prior to making him.
Right.
We had, if Ed and I were at that show, Jericho was going over the Rock, and that would have skyrocketed Jericho immediately. That was the only thing they changed when we left. So yeah, bro, the day before I told Vince I was going to WCW.
So technically, Unforgiven, you were a part of that pay-per-view. So,
Yes.
because it's September 26th, so you were.
Yes.
Okay, so that's your
Yes.
last pay-per-view.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good to get that down. So it's so interesting. You and Ed are kind of, wanting to push Jericho. They don't really give him a good push, like you said, for like 2 years. I mean, he's like losing to China. He's winning the IC title, losing the IC title. Had a good feud with Benoit, but you could tell they both weren't really getting a push. So it's like you were advocating for Jericho, but also Bruce Pritchard has said a few times that you were really advocating for Triple H at this point. Did you want to give Triple H the big push? Because he was saying that him and Vince were kind of on the fence with it. He didn't really know, but that you and Ed really wanted to give Triple H like the title.
Yeah, bro, because he earned it. Bro, he was, bro, first of all, you got to understand. I mean, my God, John, that curtain call at Madison Square Garden, that happened on a Sunday, okay? I was at Pritchard's house writing with him and Cornette the following day. Bro, they wanted Hunter fired. They were trying to convince Vince to fire Hunter. So Vince didn't fire Hunter, but he was in the doghouse, bro, for a long time. And bro, he, served his punishment, and he continued to bust his ass and work hard, and he freaking deserved to go to that next level. Now, I could tell you this, John, had I not been there, they may have fired him. They may, because that's what they do, bro. You know how it works. Pritchard and Cornette were irate over this. Obviously, Vince saw something in Triple H, and he saw value in Triple H, so he wasn't going to fire him. However, if my voice wasn't there to try to even things out, who knows if he would have been fired.
So at 99, you're the one that wants to give him the world title, and give him that big push, because Bruce was kind of saying he maybe thought it was too soon, but obviously it was building towards him getting a big push.
Right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then here we go 3 years later, when I almost came back to WWE in 2002, he was the voice, cock blocking me to come back to the company, bro. That's how it freaking works. And I'm like, really, Great. Hunter? Because him and Stephanie had gotten the power at that time, and they didn't want that power to be threatened. And I understood that. Like, I know how it works.
When you look at this period of time, like we're talking about Triple H getting a push, I'm just curious, was there ever any discussion of Chyna winning the WWF title? She was getting a push at this point.
Never. Zero. Never.
Really? Because you guys, it was interesting in the lead up to SummerSlam. She would become #1 contender. She beat Triple H because of Foley and because of Austin, but she kept becoming #1 contender, then lose #1 contendership. So it's just a tease. She was never going to get a title shot or anything like that.
Was never a conversation. Never.
Why the tease with her and kept getting title shots?
Just good television. That's all, man. Just good television, just to keep the television fresh and people watching. That's it. That was never a conversation.
I mean, we're talking 15, 20 years later, but Tessa Blanchard won the Impact World title. Did you think that was weird? Or would Chyna kind of fit in that same mold? Is that a good thing that Tessa wins the world title? Would Chyna have worked back then as world champion?
I don't think that's a good thing. Bro, listen, I've done a lot of crazy, whacked out things in my job, but if you look at how I did them, they were always within reason, and they always made sense. I don't think I would have ever put the world heavyweight title on a female. I don't think I would have ever done that.
Now here at the show also, Billy Gunn is getting a major push. Obviously he's wrestling at The Rock, the Kiss My Ass match. We'll talk about that later, but is Vince McMahon kind of
we talked about this. Yeah, Vince was a big proponent of Billy. Bro, I say this all the time, John. I'm sure I said it a million times on this show. Billy Gunn was the greatest athlete I've ever worked with in my life. Athletic-wise, bro, there was nobody that was better than Billy. And I mean that's what Vince saw,
So is Vince the one that kind of pulls the plug when his main event push is no more? Is Vince the one behind that?
I think Vince kind of felt like, bro, we gave him the opportunity, but it just wasn't happening. He was not. It's not that his mic skills were bad. I'm not saying that at all. He just wasn't a natural on the mic. Every promo sounded like a promo. That just wasn't his forte, bro. And I mean, it's hard to have a great all around game, and very few people do. And I really think that's where he lacked.
So, is Foley coming back at this point? Because he's been off TV for a little bit, nursing some injuries. He comes back. It's so funny. He looks like he's unprepared, just because he's wearing the sweatpants all the time and the dirty shirt. It's just almost hey, we just got Foley off the airplane, and now he's now we have. was that like a rush job because Austin didn't want a job to Triple H in the main event? Like, why is it Foley almost like rushed back and thrown into the main event picture during this build for SummerSlam '99?
God, bro, man, I honestly don't remember that at all, John. I mean, I don't. He would not have been rushed back into the picture unless we were told he was ready. So somebody, JR would have had to tell us, Mick's ready to come back on this date. So somebody told us he was ready to come back. Bro, we were on such a roll back then. If somebody was hurt and somebody was out, it didn't matter, because there were so many other people to fill the plug. The only reason he would have come back was if JR said he was ready to come back.
So if you look at Fully Loaded and then SummerSlam, it seems like it was supposed to be Austin versus Triple H because Triple H won the number one contendership. Austin is the champion. It seemed like that was going to be the main event for SummerSlam, and it kind of Foley comes out of nowhere. Do you remember like why you decided to put Foley in the main event?
Yeah, I told you last time, bro. I don't remember ever Austin refusing to job to Triple H. I don't remember that at all. Now, could he have, had a one-on-one conversation with Vince and Vince didn't smarten me up? Maybe, because, bro, if he did refuse to job to Triple H and Vince was trying to protect them because Austin was kind of the golden goose, Vince might not have wanted people to know that he refused to job to Triple H. So I don't know if him and Vince ever had that conversation, bro. That information was never relayed to me, ever.
Throw you a weird curveball here, like a weird rumor that's been out there. So was Foley ever supposed to be a part of the WrestleMania 15 main event a few months earlier?
1,000%. And Sean put the kibosh on that.
Okay, so that is true. Okay.
1,000% true.
What's the story there? Like, what happened?
Oh, my God, bro. What happened was, I don't know. We may have been at the Nassau Coliseum. I don't remember. The match was set as a three-way. And it was Austin. Was it Austin, Rock, and Foley? Did it wind up being Austin and Rock? Yeah, it was Austin, Rock, and Foley. And I was so excited about this, bro, because I think it was in Madison Square Garden. And I knew what this meant to Mick. I knew what this meant to Mick. So, bro, the match is booked. I told Mick. I said, bro, this is the main event of WrestleMania. Mick was tickled to death. And I remember, bro, Sean was out at that time, okay? And Sean shows up at this particular show that may have been the Coliseum. I don't remember. And Sean started getting in Austin's ear that Mick Foley should not be a part of this match. It should be you and Rock. He really started working Austin. And then he worked him enough to Austin going to Vince and Vince taking Mick out of the match. And, bro, I remember I cut such a promo on Shawn Michaels to Triple H, knowing damn well Triple H was going to go tell Shawn.
Of course, yeah.
And that's when Sean came back to me and physically threatened me, bro. And I'll never forget this because it was hysterical. Because, bro, everybody wanted to kick Sean's ass. And, like, some people did. Like, the Harris brothers, like, jacked Sean, like, 10 foot up a wall at Madison Square Garden. Everybody wanted to kick his ass. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. So Triple H goes and tells Sean, I cut the promo on him for getting Mick kicked out of the match. So Sean comes to me, starts threatening me, and the last thing he says to me is, and I know I can take you. like there was all the wrestlers that wanted to kick his ass, he couldn't take them, but he knew he could take the Writer. I'll never forget that because it popped me. Like it freaking popped me. I know I could take you, he said. And I was like, yeah, no, bro, that he threatened me, physically threatened me because I was so upset he was responsible for getting Mick out of that triple threat.
Wow, so it definitely was supposed to be Foley, and obviously Foley ends up
1,000.
being the referee for the match instead. So he's in it, but he's
Yeah.
supposed to be a wrestler, not a
Yeah,
referee.
1,000,000,000% that was set. That was booked, bro.
Do you think that maybe this win that he's about to have and this triple threat, was that a makeup? Maybe that you're trying to make it up to him?
Probably, bro. It broke my heart to have to tell him he's in the main event and then take it away. Like, that sucked, bro. Like, that absolutely sucked. That was 100% on Shawn Michaels.
Wow, what is Michael's problem? He's got nothing to do with anything at that
Bro,
point.
this is when he was, pilled up and just a pain in the ass. It's like, man, he showed up at that show like with the sole purpose of causing trouble. I mean, there's no doubt that's where he was at that time, bro.
Screwed Foley. Damn.
Yeah.
So it could be makeup here. Like he gets thrown in here to the main event. Interesting how it would have been with Rock and Austin, because obviously the two biggest stars of the era. That just goes to the lore. WrestleMania 15, 17, 19, three main events. Kind of be thrown off a little bit if Foley is also thrown into the main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just as far as the trilogy is concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
So here we go with the actual show. We have a video package. Basically showing the history of special referees in matches. They're showing Tyson, they're showing all the special referees in the matches over the years, and of course Jesse Ventura is highlighted because he will be the special guest referee in the triple threat match main event later on.
Well, one of my favorite stories is, I love this, John. I freaking love this. Prior to SummerSlam, Jesse showed up for one of our shows. We had to promote Jesse Ventura, right? So Jesse was on Raw, right? Yep. John, you know the folklore. Like, Vince McMahon hated smoking. He always used to, because Patterson was like a chain smoker. Vince was always up his ass. You didn't dare light up a cigarette in front of Vince McMahon, bro. Even Pat didn't. You didn't dare. Vince used to get on Pat just because he had cigarette smoke on his breath. I mean, Vince would get on him. Bro, freaking Jesse shows up. He's the governor of Minnesota now. Bro, he's walking around in the back with the biggest, fattest lit cigar you had ever seen. And bro, anytime Vince was in the vicinity, Jesse was blowing the smoke directly in Vince's face, knowing what are you gonna do now, bro? I'm the governor of Minnesota. I don't work. Bro, every time Vince, he would let out this clap, and the look on Vince's face, because he knew he could not say a damn thing. I will never forget that as long as I live, bro.
That's great. And obviously they, or not necessarily need him, but it's in Minnesota. He's a huge star. I mean, bigger than ever. He's basically, I mean, he was always kind of mainstream, but now he's like super mainstream.
Yep.
Somehow he won the governorship. You obviously want him to be a part of the show. He's a part of the advertising show. He's part of the cover. He's part of the poster. Like, he's a part of everything. So there's nothing Vince could do.
And God knows what Vince paid him. God knows what he asked for, bro.
And Vince and him never really got along, right?
No, not really. But bro, Jesse's the kind of guy, bro. You're not going to tell him what to do. He's not going to be a puppet. He's not going to play by the rules. And yeah, bro. And that's the thing with Vince, though, bro. And Shawn kind of fell into this category, bro. If you're a star and making him money, he's going to deal with it. I mean, that's how Vince was always business first. And, even if you were a pain in the ass, bro, if you were making him money, you were going to make him money.
And it's always funny, like, if you go back and listen to him on commentary, he would always make fun of Vince, knowing, come on, what are you going to do? I'm on commentary. I'm a big star for you. I'm your big color commentator. Always. And then even he sued Vince, and one of the few guys that actually sued and won because they were using his announce thing in his contract. It said you had to pay him royalties. They paid him nothing until the lawsuit. So obviously Vince was bitter about that.
Absolutely, 1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse always seemed like a guy that I don't know. He's going to buck the trend. He's not going to listen. He's going to try to unionize when Vince doesn't want. Like, he's going to do the opposite of whatever Vince says.
Yeah. He. I mean, I'm sure you know the story, but he always blames Hulk for ratting him out to Vince.
Yep. So interesting, though. He basically became like a Hollywood star, so he got all the money from being in SAG and stuff, and he got covered. So he basically apparently went to Vince afterwards and be like, "Well,
Bro,
I don't need your union." You know what I mean? Like that
I've
kind of thing.
always said these freaking guys with the union, like the problem is, bro, all it takes is one guy to say no.
Yeah.
I've always said with professional wrestlers, bro, if you want things to change, okay, if you want things to change, bro, it's real simple. WrestleMania, every wrestler on that card unites. Vince, we ain't going out there tonight unless we get A, B, C, D, and E, and it's put in writing. Like, it's that simple. It's that simple. If everybody's on board, Vince can't hold it against nobody. Not one person is going to be punished. But if they ever banned a night of a big, big show, bro, they could have got whatever they wanted, bro. And I, for the life of me, I don't know why they never did that.
Very interesting with just the union talk in wrestling. But as far as Jesse Ventura is concerned, he's now backstage. He's talking Law and Order with China and Triple H. Nobody will interfere, and I'm going to call this, and pin has to be in the middle of the ring. Then we cut to Chris Jericho, which is great that he gets highlighted. He's backstage with Howard Finkel, and he keeps calling him Harold, which is great.
That's great. Yeah.
Jericho always had that great comedy where, like Mitchell Cole, he'd always call the guy by the wrong name. I always tickled me. I always like that.
It's funny, bro, because everybody, like, there are so many people now that know the Chris Jericho of AEW. Bro, young Chris Jericho was like the freaking coolest guy you'd ever want to meet, man. Like, who didn't want to be young Chris Jericho?
And even his WWF debut, it's arguably the greatest wrestling debut of all time. So good.
Yeah.
And he's just such a good heel. Like, even when The Rock, tells him, know your role, shut your mouth, and, and all that, all that stuff, he does that like lip quiver thing where he's like kind of scared, and like he doesn't know how to react. Like, just oh man, he was so good.
Yeah.
Especially as a heel. So good at that point.
Yeah.
What a debut.
Yeah.
So Jeff Jarrett is in the first match. Jeff Jarrett with Deborah versus D'Lo Brown. This is a singles match. Obviously, it's for the WWF Intercontinental title and the European title. So a little bit of a double title match here between the two champions. Jeff Jarrett will defeat D'Lo Brown and win the Intercontinental title and the European Championship. Pretty good match, goes about 7 minutes, 30 seconds here. All thanks to Mark Henry and his turn. Deborah distracts the ref. Mark Henry turns on D'Lo Brown.
Wow. Really? I don't even remember that.
He was not happy about D'Lo Brown trying to help him lose weight. JR goes, what a traitor, what a backstabber. But this guy was your friend. He was trying to help you lose weight. He was trying to help you this. So Mark Henry took it the wrong way. He didn't need help with that stuff, and he helps Jeff Jarrett win the European and Intercontinental Championship.
I was just thinking today about Mark Henry, bro. Like, How clear is it now why he left AEW with trying to get his kid in the WWE? You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yep.
that's the thing, man. Just freaking say it. Like, just say it. Like, when you're don't give me bullshit of why you're leaving AEW. Just say, you know what, bro? My son really wants to wrestle for the WWE, so like that's where it's just say I'm so tired. I'm so tired of bullshit from freaking wrestlers. I really am, bro.
His son is actually part of the NIL program. Obviously, he's in college now, but that means like they kind of have a contract with him, and he will be a part of WWE. So he's technically
what does that stand for? What does that
stand? Name, image, likeness.
Got you.
Which is what the college guys weren't allowed to used to do it. Like in the Reggie Bush got in trouble for this and all that. These guys now can actually sign these deals, and WWE kind of has once he finishes college, they kind of have him under contract, and they can grab him, scoop him in, and train him. They can release him, of course, too, if they don't think it's going to work out. But it's Mark Henry's son. The guy is huge. If you look at his weightlifting, the guy is almost as strong as his dad already. As far as records and stuff are concerned. So pretty good signing just as far as lineage and legacy and that's concerned. Maybe a little bit of
Yeah,
nepotism, but
I
good
know,
signing.
bro, but they don't. I swear to God, we went through the freaking Bearcat, and now we've got Odyssey Jones. Like, bro, they don't get anybody over. Like, nobody gets over. It's like, okay, bro. Like, I see this Odyssey Jones, and I'm like, bro, we did the same thing with the Bearcat. Well, what was that dude's name?
Keith Lee.
We did. It was the same exact thing, bro. Like, for the life of me, nobody that comes out of NXT gets over.
You know what the funniest thing is about Keith Lee? Remember he made that tweet making fun of Gunther saying, "Oh, they changed his name." I don't know if you remember that or not, but ever since then, Gunther's world champion, I don't even know where he is now, Keith
That's
Lee.
all it takes.
Crazy, yeah.
That's all it takes, bro. That's all it
Yeah.
takes. Yep.
Yep. So Mark Henry turns heel, helps Jeff Jarrett. Deborah and Jeff Jarrett obviously very happy about this. What do you think, though? Was Jarrett going to get like a big push here? Because not
No,
only is
never,
he the Intercontinental champion, he's European champion, too.
never. Vince would have never let Jeff get to that level. Never, never, never. Bro, I've said this about Jeff more than any, bro, Dutch, every time I say good little hand, I think of Dutch.
Yep.
Jeff was such a great worker and so reliable and never got hurt and so dependable and could get baby faces over. Like, he was like the model guy to have on a roster. And
Yep.
my God, bro, like, in that role, I don't know if there was ever anybody better than Jeff Jarrett. I really don't.
He was damn good. Love me some Double J Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
We go backstage. Michael Cole's with Edge and Christian. They have a babyface promo talking down about Gangrel, who now has recruited the Hardy Boys to his team. Do you feel like the Hardy Boys always needed a manager at that point because they had Michael P.S. Hayes? Now they have Gangrel.
At that point, they did. At that point, they did, bro, because they were just starting out, and again, that was not their strong suit. So at that point, yeah.
So interesting about them. They're smaller guys for that era, right? I mean, they definitely are. But did they have something? Because to me, they had something. There's some charisma. There's just something about them, even though they're smaller, especially compared to the Acolytes and guys like that. But did you sense that with them that they had
Bro,
that next level?
I was the one that told Vince to give them a contract. They were like just enhancement guys, and I said, bro, you need to give these guys a contract because, bro, what they were doing at that time, nobody else was doing. Now everybody does so it's not special anymore. Back then, bro, they were the only guys doing that stuff. Plus the fact that they were brothers, plus the fact that they had a cool look. There were a million reasons to sign those guys.
So next up, we have a tag team turmoil gauntlet match to determine the number one contenders for the WWF Tag Team Championship, which right now, as of before the show, Kane and X-Pac are the tag team champions. So in the tag team turmoil match, we have Edge and Christian, the New Brood, aka the Hardys, Mideon and Viscera, Droz and Albert, the Acolytes, and the Holly Cousins. Edge and Christian would eliminate the Hardy Boys. They would then eliminate Mideon and Viscera. They would then eliminate Droz and Prince Albert. Then the Acolytes eliminated Edge and Christian. Then finally the Holly Cousins for the victory. So the Acolytes end up winning the number one contendership in 16 minutes and 15 seconds. Pretty good match here, all things considered. I think the crowd was kind of into it because of all the, obviously there's, 6 pins. So, I mean, you're constantly getting somebody over. Acolytes end up winning, but I feel like Edge and Christian get over the most. They eliminated 3 teams in a row. They look like they were on fire.
No, and that's that's a good thing about those gauntlets, bro, because you can get people over that way. You know what I'm saying, bro? Whereas they beat 3 teams, and now you got these 2 fresh monsters coming in, so you get them over because it makes sense that they wouldn't beat the Acolytes. That's why gauntlets are good to book that way.
Acolytes, obviously, big, nasty team. Simmons and Bradshaw, just obviously very believable.
That's what they used against me. That's what they used against me at WCW, bro, because we had an emergency meeting because I think Brett was the champ. Brett was hurt. Brett was going to be out for a while, so we had to take the belt off of Brett, right? So I pitched, let's do a battle royal, right? Sid was number 1. Sid goes through the entire thing. Okay. And Sid's the last one in the ring, dead on his feet. And who comes out? A fresh Tank Abbott. Bro, Tank Abbott was Tank Abbott back then. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Sid goes through this war of 29 guys, and here comes a fresh UFC fighter. That's what I'm talking about, bro. So if Tank Abbott wins the WCW title, it makes total sense out of those circumstances. Then once that happens, we'll figure out what we're going to do, and we will see if it works or not. If it doesn't work, bro, you just take it off of them. No problem. But oh my God, did they love using that against me to get me out of WCW, bro. Like, unbelievable. But that's the same thing with the gauntlet match. You get those guys over by going through everybody, but then here come the monsters and they're out of gas.
Yep. So the Acolytes #1 contenders. Al Snow, your good longtime close personal friend, Al Snow is backstage, and he's not talking to Head about the match. He's talking to Pepper, the dog, about the upcoming match with the Big Boss Man.
Oh God, I remember shooting those vignettes like they were yesterday, where Boss Man served them pepper, bro. That
Was any of that at all like a rib on Al, just because he always seems to like be able to take a joke kind of thing? Like, was
nah, it
any of that
wasn't.
like a joke? Like, hey, you're going to be talking to your dog, and
It
like,
really
you know?
wasn't.
Oh no, okay.
He was that good. He was that good because I remember with the deer head, he used the Pierre. Was it Pierre?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he used to freaking crack me up, man.
Yeah, he's like versatile as like a comedy role, but like as like a nutcase. Like you're scared of the guy. He's like
I mean, bro, his role was like, but they were different, but it was very similar to Mick.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very similar, but he could be controlled by these demons. You know what I mean?
It's so crazy. Early in his career, he was just known as like the good little hand, like a good
Oh yeah,
worker. And as soon as he developed a character, no one even remembers that he's a good wrestler anymore. Now they're like, oh, he's Head and he's funny and this and that.
Bro, we had him. We had him as Avatar. We had him as Leaf Cassidy and this, that, and the other thing. And I swear to God, bro, one of the few weeks that I was watching ECW, I turned it on and they're filling the ring with all these heads. And I'm like, what is this? And that's when I said to Vince, bro, we gotta bring him back here. He's got this gimmick now that's over.
Yep.
And that's when we brought him back.
Then we have the Road Dogg coming out for an in-ring promo. He said he wants the hardcore title. He wants the winner of the Al Snow versus Big Boss Man match for the hardcore championship. But here's where it gets very interesting. He's cutting this promo. He says he's going to be the commentator for the match. He's going to be involved in this match. Jericho comes out on this like podium thing, and he basically is going to run down the Road Dogg. Very, very funny stuff. It just makes fun of the way he's dressed, makes fun of the way he looks, saying that he's like going to, be the best wrestler in WWF. That I'm saving this league. And Road Dogg's like, who is this guy? Like, he's like, look at your hair. Look at the way you're dressed. Like, Road Dogg calls him a bitch. Like, it's just funny back and forth.
And you know what, Chris? I mean, John, none of that is written. None.
Jericho's going right off the cuff. He's just
none of that is written. That's why, bro, when you know you're working with two guys like that, you don't write a single word of that for them, bro.
It's great because Road Dogg says something like negative, like, Mick cursing at him or whatever, and Jericho's like flabbergasted, like, well, how could you say that? But you could tell Jericho kind of like popped him a little bit because like he makes like a weird face, like, whoa, like I didn't expect him to say that.
Yeah, no, that stuff's the best, man, because that stuff made my job so easy, man.
So obviously that's like a little bit of a mini feud for Jericho coming up.
Yeah.
Is there a reason he's not on the show? Is it because the show was scripted kind of, or the matches were in hand beforehand? He doesn't necessarily he's not going to have a match.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. And make them wait for a little bit more so we can make it a little bit more special.
So Road Dogg stays out there. He becomes commentator for Al Snow and the Big Boss Man hardcore title match. He even does some stuff where he walks around with them and he's doing the mic while JR and the King are calling the match. Pretty funny. He's like kind of making fun of the guys and just
Yeah.
ingratiating himself, I guess, or putting himself into the title mix there.
Bro, that was such a tool in the toolbox, putting people on color.
Right.
That was such a great tool in getting characters over. Bro, you never see that anymore. And when you do see it, when they are color, when they're on color, all they're giving you is wrestling talk, bro. They're giving you wrestling talk. They're not getting their characters over. That really is a loss. I used to use that all the time, man.
So Al Snow ends up defeating the Big Boss Man for the Hardcore Championship. Pretty good match. Goes 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Thanks to Road Dogg. Road Dogg basically helps him win. After the match, Al Snow is brawling with Stevie Richards, and Blue Meanie beats them up because they were going after Pepper the dog. So Al Snow's in a lot of different things here. Road Dogg is helping him. So that's going to be something with him. Road Dogg's also feuding with Jericho. Stevie Richards and Blue Meanie are trying to get Pepper. So a lot of different things going on. Also, another thing I noticed, Al Snow runs from the back where he defeats Boss Man out to the arena again. And we talked about Boss Man doing that the last show. Is this some sort of rib where they have to run back and get the title?
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely, it probably is. Absolutely.
Because it's so funny. Al Snow's like running back, and then Stevie Richards kind of gets in his way. It's just kind of funny to me. I'm just always like, why the need?
And bro, the rib, the Rock the Corporate Champ happened by now, right?
Yeah, that's old.
Bro, that's probably where the rib started when Boss Man missed his cue during that match. That's probably where the rib started. Right there, I guarantee you that's where the rib started. Yeah.
Wow, okay. Love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Then we have Jesse the Body Ventura. He's backstage with Mankind, and Mankind makes some sort of political joke, which is just funny because it's like, this guy shouldn't know like political humor. Like, and he's talking to Jesse Ventura about politics instead of the match. Like, very funny unfolding.
I remember one of my favorite vignettes, bro. I remember my very, very favorite vignettes was Mick Foley was trying to teach Kurgan the stock market. Okay, bro.
Yes.
And Kurgan turned around and said to Mick, "But I don't have any money." I'll never forget that as long as I live, bro. Tremendous.
Foley was, I don't know, very versatile. Obviously, he's like 6'4", he's a monster, but he's also a comedian and he's a great talker. Yeah, he's
bro. I swear to God, man, if you had to name one person that could never, I mean, if you had to say seriously, who would there never be another of? I would say Mick Foley. Because, bro, I think people can play Austin. I think people could play The Rock. I think people can play those roles. I don't think anybody would be able to play the role of Mick Foley. I don't think anybody. The closest guy was probably Bray Wyatt, and you saw a little bit of that with him in the Funhouse, and you know all these different characters.
Yep.
But to the extent that Mick pulled that stuff off, man, I don't think you're ever going to see another person like that ever.
Yep. Agreed. Then we have next up a WWF Women's Championship match. Ivory defending her title versus Tori. Ivory defeats Tori in about 4 minutes. The crowd was not into it. Really, just not a good match. Just didn't mesh. It was just kind of short and sweet, or not really short, not so sweet, and done. The only thing that really got a pop and was interesting, Luna Vachon came out after the match and went after Ivory. The match itself, no pop, but Luna got a big pop and obviously chases Ivory, and Ivory runs away. She almost stripped Tori naked as well, and that almost got a pop, but
Tori was the one stalking Sable, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. No, neither one of those two were really over.
Yep. Luna was, though, obviously that got a pop, but that was the only thing really to kind of mention from the match. Then we have The Rock backstage. He's got an interview with Michael Cole, and we have Billy Gunn with a surprise. He's got somebody under a hood that he said will be a part of the Kiss My Ass match later on. So a little bit of a tease there from Billy Gunn. We don't know what it is, but a little bit of a tease.
Interesting. I don't even know who it is. I don't even know who it is.
So then next up, Ken Shamrock versus Steve Blackman, continuing this feud. Now we're going to have a Lion's Den weapons match. So they're going to be locked in the cage, but with weapons. Very interesting. Ken Shamrock ends up defeating Steve Blackman in about 9 minutes there. Okay, nothing really great or nothing really to write home about, but Shamrock gets the win. Just keeping him strong, I guess.
Do we know how Shamrock beat him?
Knocked him out with a weapon and just kept beating the hell out of him, basically.
So was Blackman unconscious, or
Yes.
did he?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
that
Yep.
makes sense. That protects Blackman. Yeah.
Yeah. He knocked him out. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Um,
bro, again, I've said this a million times. Shamrock was a two-way player. He had the mic skills, and Blackman did not. So when you put the two of them together, Shamrock is just going to be more valuable to you.
Did you know at this point that Shamrock may be on his way out, that he was negotiating with Pride Fighting Championships and he might go back to MMA? Did you know that at this point or
I
no?
didn't know that because I didn't get involved in that business. So JR and Vince would have known, but I wouldn't have known.
Because a few months later, or actually a little bit later, he'll leave and he'll go back to MMA because he said obviously he was getting paid a ton of money, and Pride was the #1 organization at that point over in Japan, so he was getting a boatload of money to do it. But they kind of just job him out to Jericho out of nowhere. Like it just felt like okay, he must have left kind of abruptly.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what happened. Yeah.
�𝐘EVin backstage with Test, and they're recapping his Shane McMahon's attack on Sunday Night Heat, which is of course a part of the Greenwich street fight between Kane and Shane McMahon that we're building up to. Well, you gotta love that. Test is the babyface, and obviously Shane is trying to say that he shouldn't be dating his sister. So basically, if Shane loses the match, he's forced to give his blessing to Test and Stephanie dating. If Test loses, Stephanie and him would be forced to break up and never see each other ever again.
Yeah, I just saw. I had forgotten all about Test being debuting as Motley Crue's roadie. I just saw that. I'm like, oh my God, like I don't even know what the finish of this match is. I'm sure Test goes over, right?
So Test defeats Shane McMahon. Actually, really good, really fun match. Shane is nuts. Some of the
forget it,
some of the
bro.
stuff he takes and some of the bumps. He ends up winning in about 12 minutes. Also, part of the match, though, Mean Street Posse, of course, interferes, who Test was kind of injuring slowly as we build up to the pay-per-view. So they're all like, one has an injured foot, one is this, they're all injured, which was funny. The Stooges actually come out and beat up the Mean Street Posse at one point. Stephanie comes out after Test wins, and they celebrate the victory. But Test goes over in 12 minutes. Shane is now forced to accept the relationship between his sister and Test.
Very nice, bro. Very nice. I would love to know what that the Shane Stephanie relationship is today. I would love to know what that is.
Considering Shane McMahon had met up with Tony Khan and Stephanie was in the crowd for SummerSlam, probably not good.
That's what I'm saying, man. God, I wish, man. I mean, bro, John, 10 years from now, what would you freaking pay to see a McMahon miniseries, bro?
Yes.
Oh my God, bro, I would give anything to see a mini series made about that family and all the things that were going on that we were totally oblivious to, man.
And obviously, Shane took that picture for a reason with Tony Khan. You know what I mean?
Either
piss off WWF or maybe wake them up, or I don't know. But he took the picture on purpose.
Yeah, if Shane didn't want that picture to get out, it wasn't getting out, bro. Yeah, absolutely, John. Yep.
Are you shocked at all about that meeting, or did you see it coming that they would actually meet?
No, I think Vince wants to buy AEW, and he's using Sean as his front man.
That's what you think. Wow, you think Shane is
1,000%. 1,000%. I'm convinced of that 1,000%. This ain't about Shane working for Tony Khan or working with Tony Khan. This is about them taking over that company.
Do you think that Khan would actually ever sell?
The only reason I think he would sell is if they've built up a loss they cannot overcome, and now he's got to save face with his old man. And I can definitely see that, bro. If after 5 years, this is the loss, this is where we're at, and the only way Tony can make it look like a success is if he sells it for more than what was lost. And I can definitely see that happening.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, his dad would have to say, "Hey, I'm going to stop
Yeah.
giving you money." Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Then we have Kane and X-Pac backstage
Man,
interview with
how
Michael
many
Cole.
matches were on this card, bro? Like,
Nine total. Yeah.
wow. Okay, wow, a lot of matches. But go ahead. So they're backstage with Michael Cole.
Yep. And then they show a video package highlighting the Undertaker and Big Show, aka the Unholy Alliance, feud with Kane and X-Pac. So next up, the Unholy Alliance, Big Show, and the Undertaker with Paul Bearer defeat Kane and X-Pac to win the WWF Tag Team Championship. Pretty good match, not bad, but nothing crazy, nothing really to write home about. But they win the tag team titles, Undertaker and Big Show. Very interesting though. Big Show chokeslams X-Pac, lollygags, and Kane's on the outside because they had beaten him up and kind of taken him out, and goes for the pin, but just puts his foot on him. And X-Pac like barely kicks out. Undertaker goes, "Get over here." Tags himself in, tombstone, pins on X-Pac 1, 2, 3. And they're the new tag team champions of the Unholy Alliance, but they're fighting each other, basically. Not fighting, but like yelling at each other afterwards.
Yeah.
Why did you pin him like that? I told you to, you're not showing enough effort here. Like, what are you doing? I had to show you how it's done. Blah, blah. And so Big Show's like, "Oh, screw you. I'm the one that took care of it." And like, so very interesting. They're the tag team champions now. They're the Unholy Alliance, but they don't get along at all. A lot of tension.
Yeah, I wish I would have got to work with him more, bro. Him and Jericho. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they came
Yep.
in at the tail end right before I left. I wish I would have got to work with him more.
You were a part of bringing Jericho in, but were you a part of bringing Big Show in at all?
I was not a part of bringing Big Show in, bro, but I was there the day Big Show met with Vince at his house. I was
Okay.
there that day, but I had nothing to do with that. No, Jericho, I was the one, that was on the phone with him all the time, but I was just at that first meeting with Big Show and Vince, but I had nothing to do with orchestrating that.
So then next up, we have The Rock versus Billy Gunn in the Kiss My Ass match. Billy Gunn reveals that the woman that he had with him was just some fat woman that he made her a part of the Kiss My Ass thing because she's not that good looking. And, like it was basically like an insult kind of thing.
Bro, can you imagine? You could never, ever do something like that today, bro.
No. And JR and Lawler, because she had this black thing over her, but you can kind of see her knees and her legs. And JR's like, "Look at those knees there. That's not looking too good," or something like that.
Lawler must have had a freaking
yeah. Oh yeah. And they're making fun of her and stuff. She's a part of it because she's getting paid, so she's a part of the joke. But yeah, obviously today, you'd be in trouble if you did that.
Bro, remember how Bobby Heenan used to make fun of the Rosati sisters, bro? Remember
Yes.
that? Can you
Yes.
imagine that today, bro?
Could never get away with that today. No way. So The Rock wins. He wins the Kiss My Ass match. He beats Billy Gunn in about 10 minutes. Pretty good match. Nothing crazy here. But I can't kind of think like with that fat lady and the kissing her ass and the other stuff kind of meant the end of the Billy Gunn push.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Smart though, The Rock goes over. That's the right.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, bro, it's the money. Go with the money. That's why, like, I swear to God, I watched the WWE today, like, and I'm like, Sami Zayn beats Gunther. Who's the money in this match? Like, who's the money? You always got to go with the money. Who's the money, bro?
Didn't like him beating Braun Breaker either.
Me neither, bro. Who's the
either.
money? Who's the money? Yeah. Bro. There's too much. There's too much favoritism over there, bro. You could tell who's boy. It's too much, man. I swear to God, John, I learned so early on. You don't make friends with the wrestlers, bro. You don't. They're not your friends, bro. You can't work that way, man. And I swear to God, Triple H is freaking in love with Sami Zayn, man. And they've done more harm to so many characters by putting freaking Sami Zayn over them. It's not even funny, man.
I am baffled. That's the one thing Triple H booking I'm baffled is that good little hand, if you will, but just him going over certain guys is nuts.
Yes,
absolutely
good little hand, bro. But that's it.
Then in the main event of the evening, well, before that, they have a video package recapping the whole #1 contendership storyline with Triple H, China, then Mankind, and then like with HBK involved. Then Mankind becomes number one contender. Then Triple H becomes number one contender. Shane McMahon becomes involved. Shawn Michaels comes back. He's involved. They have an interview with Linda McMahon where she says, I'm going to make it a triple threat match, Steve Austin versus Mankind versus Triple H for the world title. So many different storylines involved. You kind of didn't know the main event of SummerSlam going in a little bit until you had to watch every week of Raw to really get that and understand, and SmackDown and everything, to understand it.
Yeah, and I miss that kind of television, bro. I do. I miss it, man. I don't care how much money the WWE is making. I don't give a shit. It's not good television. It's not good. I mean, bro, come on, man. When you've got Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, the last 30 minutes of Raw, 2 out of 3 falls. Bro, do you really think they're going to take the belt off of Braun Breaker 2 weeks after he won it? Like, do you really? You know what the outcome is, bro. You know there's zero mystery whatsoever. And I swear to God, bro, like they're going to be in for a rude awakening when Monday Night Football starts, bro. Because I'm telling you, they're going to lose a lot of their fan base, bro. I'm telling you, because their show is not a good television show, man.
So Mankind defeats Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H with China in this triple threat match for the WWF Championship. Like I mentioned before, special guest referee was Jesse Ventura. He counted the 3 right in the middle. The match goes 16 minutes and 20 seconds. Pretty good match. Nothing great here. Crazy, though, the finish. So Triple H hits Austin with the stunner. Then Mankind hits his double arm.
Triple H hits Austin with the stunner?
With the pedigree, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And then Foley kind of knocks him out of the way. Then Foley hits Austin with the double arm DDT, pins Austin just straight up 1, 2, 3, and that's the finish. So here's the crazy part. Okay, so they did technically hit 2 finishers, so it kind of keeps Austin strong. But the crowd, and even me at home, I remember I was pissed and not happy, and I thought it came up flat, thought it sucked. The crowd didn't even really pop. They were like shocked that not only Austin lost, but the way he lost. They were just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it was like Foley's a huge over baby face. What's the thought process here? Like, why did Foley go over? And did you expect that kind of reaction? Because it's like a fart in church.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro. Like, I think that's such a good. I think it's so important to good television, bro. You got to keep the people off their feet. That's how you get must-see TV when they don't know what's going to happen. That's how you get them to tune in every single week. So now you got a situation that this finish surprises the shit out of everybody. So what's the first question you're asking yourself? How is freaking Austin going to react to this? We got to tune in tomorrow night to see what Steve Austin is going to do. It's so important, bro, to keep your audience off of balance. And again, bro, everything you watch today, I always say, is just that straight line. There's no this, there's no that. It's that straight, safe line. And that's why, bro, if you look at the numbers, bro, WWE is in the same boat as AEW. They're not increasing viewers. It's the same viewers every week. It's exactly what AEW is. The only time they increased viewership, John, was when The Rock came back. As soon as The Rock left, they went right back to where they were, and they're going to stay right where they are because it's not must-see TV.
Now, did you know that Austin was hurt going into this? Because he's got some neck issues. He's got some problems.
Yeah.
Did you know he was injured?
Yeah, I would say, bro, probably for it to happen this way, I would say probably 2 things happened. Number one, that Austin needed some time away. And, bro, I guarantee you, if Austin knew he needed some time away, I guarantee you Austin probably recommended this finish.
Interesting. Because there was always that rumor, like you said, which what you said is not true with Triple H not winning the job. But obviously, Foley's his boy. He would agree. He would drop to Foley, no problem.
Yeah.
Because after the match, Triple H attacks Austin and kind of puts him on the shelf a little bit. And even the next pay-per-view, Triple H will win this like big gauntlet match or whatever, this 6-man match and a six-pack challenge, and he'll win the title, and Austin's the referee. So Austin Triple H is like the feud, but Triple H didn't pin Austin, but Triple H does take him out after SummerSlam at the end, which also doesn't make the crowd very happy.
Yeah.
But then we have Foley versus Triple H the next night, and Triple H beats Foley for the title. So what's the thought process there? Like, you wanted to get the title on Triple H, or was it just the fact that you wanted this to be a big moment on Raw?
Again, unpredictability, bro. And that's the way it should be. It should be that title can change hands at any time. John, when's the last time a world title changed hands at a house show?
Ooh, I was thinking about that the other day. I can't think of it. I can't even think of the last time it changed hands like on TV rather than a pay-per-view.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, seriously, like, why wouldn't it? It would. I mean, that would happen. And that's all we were trying to do with that show, bro. And obviously during that time it worked.
So Triple H, obviously, he doesn't win. Mankind's the champion, but you could tell he's the one getting the big push because he did hit his finish on Austin. He wasn't a part of the decision, and then he beat up Austin after the match to kind of like take him out.
And Mick Foley's bulletproof, bro. You're not going to hurt Mick. No matter what, bro, you're not going to hurt Mick. He was too good a talent. He was too smart. You were not going to hurt Mick.
So what do you think overall of this pay-per-view? Did you like it? Like, would you give the thumbs up to it? Did you like how it was rolling creatively?
I do, bro. I like there were so many matches, and obviously, bro, there were a ton of storylines, going on. So yeah, bro, keep in mind, like, I didn't know I was leaving at this point, so
Right.
I'm writing my ass off, bro. I don't have any intentions of leaving this company until Vince said what he said. And then in that instant, it was over. So I'm working just as hard as I was working 2 years ago, man. Nothing changed for me.
It's crazy to me, and even I remember this as a fan. I was like, this is kind of where like they start going downhill creatively. Like, it just felt like it wasn't going that good. The Austin wasn't. He's still super hot, but like his feuds aren't that hot. This Triple H, are we really ready for this Triple H push? It just felt weird. But 600,000 pay-per-view buys, the ratings are through the roof. You're killing WCW, like murdering them, beyond belief. So it's funny. It's like you guys built up so much goodwill and momentum. It's like you mentioned before, it's almost like it just keeps going, even if it's not as good as it once was.
But
98 was way better. 98's way better.
But it was slowly going to die too. It was slowly.
Right.
If you didn't keep feeding that machine, bro, you're going to be able to ride that out for so long, and then it's going to die. That's why I said to Vince, you have a year to ride the wave. My exact words to him, bro.
And they do. I mean, they keep it going. But it's funny. I just didn't think they were as good creatively. Yeah. Even here, SummerSlam, I didn't think it was that great.
Well, bro, like I said, we had Jericho going over the Rock. That would have changed everything, bro. That literally would have changed the entire landscape. But when they changed that out of the gate, that's when I knew, bro, they're gonna go back to wrestling. And it's just going to be a matter of time before this thing starts slipping.
Do you think the lack of the Jericho push initially is because he's from WCW and that's
1,
like a Vince thing?
1,000,000,000%. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So weird. Like, you couldn't give a guy a push that deserves a push, that you could tell this guy's got charisma at the yin yangs and also wrestler.
That's why Vince would have never done that shit with me and Ed there. Never in a million years, because we would have said exactly what you just said. He would have never, ever done that. But now you take us out of the equation and you got Bruce in his ear and all. Yeah, bro, that's exactly why.
And Triple H apparently didn't really like him, as you go through.
I mean, who would have been a bigger threat to Triple H than Jericho? Come on.
Right. A guy with those mic skills that could actually wrestle. Create the catchphrases to sell the merch and all that other stuff.
Yep.
Y2J, of course.
Yep.
But let's wrap this bad boy up. Head towards the plugs. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Vince, what do you got going on?
Yeah, let me tell you guys again, it's right there on the screen. If you've never been a Patreon member, you can go to patreon.com/Russo TWC and get a free week of Russo's brand so you could sample it for the whole week. It will cost you nothing. Patreon.com/Russo TWC.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. See you right back here next time for the next podcast. See you then, folks.